Hello YouTubers, this is the Noobifier. I've had some time to test out the MT50 throttle from Virpil and I've decided to update the unboxing video. It's natural to compare the MT50 to the Thrustmaster Warthog throttle, however they're very different, each offering strengths and weaknesses. It's normal human nature to take cost into consideration when evaluating value. Currently the MT50 is at $326 US plus or minus because of the exchange rate, and the Thrustmaster Warthog throttle can be found standalone on Amazon for $270. I had owned a Warthog Hodus before switching to dual Warthog, eventually to dual Virpil. The build quality is solid, the switches had an authentic feel, and I never had any complaints. The working components had plastic components, just like the grip, which really put me off. I never understood the point of making the exterior parts on the product metal without following through on the interior. I'll start with the most important part of the throttle, which is the throttle itself. Virpil includes the ability to set 2 detents per throttle axis. If you plan to keep them linked, you technically have the option to have 4 bumps. You also have the option to have none. To adjust the detent, all you need to do is release the set screw and rotate the collar. Once you have the right place, tighten the set screw and test. Your drag tension can be adjusted on the left side with the set screw. The MT50 throttle can surface mount exactly like the Warthog throttle because they share the same mounting hole spacing. Because of this, it would mount directly to a MonsterTech mount using the Thrustmaster plate, or you can use the bespoke mounting hardware from Virpil in conjunction with the 4 countersunk threaded holes in the base. The throttle does have some weight to it, but the Virpil mount has no difficulty keeping it in place. I'll quickly give you a rundown of the button options, which in my opinion should leave you without wanting for more. The mode switch would allow you to set multiple pages of keybinds. This is one place where the MT50 throttle dominates the Warthog throttle. The only thing that the Warthog throttle has over the MT50 is the index finger analog hat, which I always found lacked resolution and was a bit janky. So leading up to the release, anyone who originally commented that the Delta grip seemed to lack button options, here's the rundown. A1 and A2 are analog dials from 0 to 100% with a bump at 50%. E1, E2, and E3 are rotating dials that are bound like keys. They serve a third function when you push down. Unlike A1 and A2, they can be turned infinitely in either direction. T1 through T6 are silver toggle switches. T1 is a covered momentary with both an up and down position. T2 and T3 are toggle on-off switches. T4, 5, and 6 are like T1, 2-position momentary switches. B1 through B9 are momentary buttons. B9 is protected by a red cone to make it harder to accidentally push it. Some other reviewers have said that this is a dust magnet, that dust can enter wherever. The unit's fairly easy to take apart to clean, and there is a dust cover available, so to me, not a big deal. There are 2 throttle axes which can be joined by a lever. And the last thing on the throttle base is a 0 to 100% lever, which would work very well for almost anything that can be bound to an axis. It behaves exactly like a third throttle. Use it for flaps, throttle, zoom, whatever you like. I'm going to move on to the throttle grip. There are 3 4-way hat switches, 1 5-way hat switch, 4 buttons, and an analog roller wheel that works very similar to A1 or A2. 0 to 100% with a bump at 50%. The 5-position mode switch that I mentioned earlier can be configured custom within the software. The most likely configuration I can see it as is a modifier. You can use it to keep track of several game titles or tailor the key set to unique aircrafts within one. I feel it goes without saying that the unit is built to a very high standard using very high quality metals and plastics. The switches are solid and have a tactile feedback. The throttle, levers, and dials move very smoothly and are satisfying to use. By default, the mode switch is set to adjust the RGB lighting. All of this can be adjusted in the software. I'll close out with my thoughts. Perceived value is based on your personal situation. It's up to you to decide based on the price and how much you plan to use it. Virpil sent me this throttle to review. Regardless, I approached the review as if I bought it. I enjoyed using it as much as I enjoyed using the Warthog. They're both at that level where you'd expect the highest precision. After opening up the MT50 and seeing its construction, the all-metal components seem very familiar and reassuring. I believe that you do get more value out of its higher price. Thank you very much for spending your time with me. Please suggest other topics that you'd like to have covered. Please check out the other videos on the Virpil product line that include a detailed disassembly and tuning. Fly safe, and I'll see you in the verse.